I'm really just trying to build a nice body of work.
There we go.
I just spent the last 2 weeks enthralled in everything Japanese culture, food, and of course, shopping. I visited for the first time the cultural powerhouse in Osaka. We went to the lakes of Fujikawa-Guchiko and visited the historic capital of Kyoto. And of course, I made what I'm calling a yearly pilgrimage back to the Japanese denim capital of the world, Kojima. And along the way, I gathered some goodies that I can't wait to share with you guys. All the items I talk about in this video will be included down in the description, and make sure you stay until the end because I have a couple of bonus items that you won't want to miss. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Drew. What to do? It's nice to meet you. Let's talk Japan pickups. One quick thing before we get started. As a disclaimer, it's important for you, the viewer, to keep perspective on me, the creator, as you watch this video. Fashion is something that I'm both incredibly passionate about, but it's also my job. And so the intention of this video is not to get you to look at all this stuff and go, buy, 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 buy. Rather, my goal is to broaden your horizons and open your world up to the things that I find interesting and to share my passion with you via this format. If you end up liking this video, make sure to give it a like. There's a lot more Japan content coming, so subscribe if you want to see that. If there's a brand, a fabric, an idea that you get from this video, let me know down in the comments. All right, let's go. My only shoe pickup of the entire trip were these Hender Duffle cap toe leather shoes. Now, if you don't know Hender, they're a Japanese brand that focuses primarily on producing some of the most incredible leather goods in product, leather goods in footwear, leather goods in accessories. That's what Hender is about. They have a knack for pushing your imagination for what's possible when it comes to leather-made fashion. This is exactly what the duffel cap toe leather shoes are, and some. So when it comes to sizing, I went with a Japanese size 7, which equates to about an EU 44 or a US 11. There's a little bit of snugness around the midfoot, but I was told that, you know, this is a non-broken in piece of leather. Once you start wearing these, it's gonna break in and feel even softer and really adhere to my foot shape and become more comfortable. If you've been around the block with me a few times, then you know I love telling stories with my pickups and not just showing you the product. And there's a really interesting story with this shoe. For context, this is my second time to Japan in the last 2 years, and I had never gone or been to Hender before. And so when we went to Hender in Osaka, I was kind of blown away by this storefront. I'll show you guys more about the store in the vintage shopping video I do for Osaka. I was blown away and I saw these shoes and I tried a size EU 43, which is I think is a Japanese 6, and they were just way, way too tight. And I asked the shop clerk, I forget her name, but she was super helpful. What was your name?
My name?
Yes.
Rico.
Rico?
Rico.
Rico? Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you so much. Helpful. Super nice. I asked her, are there any other stores that carry the next size up? She said, yes, there's only one available left in Tokyo. I told her, like, please, if you could, like, I love these shoes. I need these shoes. I want these shoes. Call up the store in Tokyo and tell them that, you know, there's someone in Osaka who's gonna be back in Tokyo who wants these shoes. Save these shoes for me. She kind of gave me this look like, I don't know if I could do that. And you know, if you know anything about Japan, like they're a very rule-based society, right? So if there's no protocol for something, they typically don't allow you to do it, especially as a gaijin or as a foreigner. You know what I mean? I was speaking English, we were translating, using translating apps, and but I feel like, you know, for whatever reason, I appealed to her better nature, and she accepted, called the store, and they saved this exact pair of the duffel cap toe for me, and they're the last size that you can get in this size. Unfortunately, they don't go any bigger, but I'm really happy that I was able to pick up this version. I'm actually really happy that I was able to get the all black colorway, because I think when it comes to styling, it can be dressed up, it can be dressed down, it can be worn in a more professional setting as a kind of dress shoe, but then you can also kind of play with it when it comes to dressing in a more fashion forward or kind of just unique ways. Buying the shoe at the store in Tokyo ended up being a blessing in disguise, because across the street they have a circulation shop was what they call it, but essentially they have a resole shop that allows you, if you want to add a rubberized sole to the bottom of your shoes. And I was able to do that. That was also a really fun and cool experience, and I was able to get these guys ready for the streets of New York City. One of the better, newer brands coming out of Japan is Taiga Takahashi. I've talked about them a little bit, and this is their Lot 506 DB Silk Cardigan. A cardigan I wish I could let you touch just so you could know how incredible this garment is. Taiga Takahashi, like many Japanese brands, tries to reinterpret and reimagine American classics. For this reinterpretation, it's not just that, it's really also an elevation to a level that you rarely see when it comes to modern clothing manufacturing. The silk yarn here is really special because it's a fabric that derives from silk noil, which are the remnants of silk fabric left over from the silk production process. This silk noil is more slubby and bobby in nature and creates a really unique texture from a visual standpoint, and on body creates a really satisfying feeling when you're wearing it. I went kind of back and forth on this piece because of the color, but at the end of the day, I love the kind of brown, almost nut buttons that they decided to use for this. And once I put it on, this is a size 42 by the way, I just knew that this piece was coming home with me. If you want to start adding stores to your Japan list when you visit Japan, make sure to go to Taiga Takahashi in Kyoto. And I would also say go to Hender Scheme in Osaka. Both stores were just gorgeous, like just worth walking into to appreciate the level of interior design and just care that goes into showcasing their product offerings. And just so we're clear, I will be showing you guys more of the details of the different stores that I visited in separate videos, so just know that that is also coming. The first truly vintage, or I guess secondhand pieces that I bought while in Japan were these 3 Polo Ralph Lauren button downs. You know, I'm a Polo Ralph Lauren fiend. I'm a Polo boy. So when I see it, I'm like, it's for me. Here's the first one. This kind of like really gorgeous navy or faded blue, almost like an indigo that's been worn in a little bit. That's number 1. Number 2 is kind of this flannel-like shirt, but it's a button down and I love the collar on here. And then number 3 is almost this like crazy flannel or tie-dye style shirt, which is like gorgeous, man. This one is the one that I'm like maybe most excited about. Part of the reason why the vintage in Japan is so incredible is because when you walk into certain vintage shops, most vintage shops honestly, and you look at the product, you're almost looking at product that's in such good condition, you're questioning, how is any of this even vintage? And that's the same for these shirts right here. But if you had like smell-o-vision and you could smell these bad boys, you would know that they've been in some old places. They got that funk to them. You know that vintage, that like thrift shop smell? They have that in folds. They have that tenfold because like you fold the clothes. It's entendre. You fold the clothes and then tenfold. It's like a joke. Hope you guys appreciate me. I'm a funny guy. And recently I've been just loving wearing collared shirts or button-down shirts as a layering pop for my outfits. It's one of those things I think just instantly improves your style when you have a bit of layering going on and you use interesting shirting like these shirts as that pop for your layering. And that was the thought process in buying the 2 multicolored button downs. Tell me if you agree about this down in the comments, but there's something that happens when you wear a collared shirt, where if you have a collared shirt on, you're more trusted for whatever reason. Before I forget, I actually picked these up at Pigsty. The prices for these were really fair. I think it was like $15 for each shirt. Something like that. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Next, I ended up copying this vintage jacket from CP Company. At least I think it's vintage. I'm not really sure how old it is or if it's just secondhand or what exactly constitutes its existence as a piece of clothing. But the shop that I picked this up at is called Cetten, which is a really cool hole-in-the-wall shop that another place, add to your list, really, really cool shop, especially if you're into like archive fashion or secondhand designer clothing. They have some really cool goodies in there. Now, CP Company is one of those brands that maybe you've heard of, but as you get deeper into the fashion bro rabbit hole, not me that so much. I'm different. I never really cared about the CP Company hype. I think part of the reason that I decided to pull the trigger on this jacket is because earlier that day in Osaka, we visited a shop called FCE, which is a Japanese outdoorism shop, and I was really digging a lot of the jackets that I saw there. And I told myself, you know, I'm gonna, like, it was early on in the day, so I didn't want to buy anything at like noon. I told myself I'll come back, I'll do the rounds around Osaka, and then I'll come back if I don't find anything that I like. And then I stumbled upon this jacket and I saw a lot of things that I loved. The weight of this jacket in particular is really, really fun. I think it's great for like layering for the colder months. Like you have this on underneath something that's a bit heavier, you take this off, you still have a very warm jacket that's functional but also looks really beautiful. The zippers on here are really unique. They have this kind of like cupping or like forking, if you want to call it that. And I love the kind of slight, like very subtle turtle neck that you have on this jacket too. Just those simple things drew me to it, and I'm excited to wear it a bunch in the fall and the winter, and in New York City and in Colorado. Plus, I was able to add these vintage Italian army arm warmers to my purchase, and I think it just kind of sweetened the deal when it came to that CP Company jacket. Like I said earlier, Japan is a pretty rule-heavy place. Everyone follows the rules. If the light is red but there are no cars, no one's gonna cross the street because the rules say that you shall not pass or shall not walk if the light is red. You only walk when it turns for the walking signal. Bargaining is still something that exists in Japan, and so when I saw these, I thought, you know, wouldn't it be nice if I was able to get these on top of the CP Company jacket? And so I bargained for them. But the shop clerk who I bargained for these gloves or for these arm warmers, we had a really fun moment because I put them on, and when you put these on, you kind of look like a character from Naruto. And I did this little like pose, you know, like when you, like there's some of the characters, they do these poses and they're about to fight, they get into a fighting stance. I did this pose with the shop clerk and he like did the pose right back at me right away. And he said, Naruto? And I was like, Naruto, like this is like, you're my guy right now. Like you and I are having a moment, and I love it, I'm living for it. That coupled with the fact that I think these are a really interesting item for the winter. I've never had arm warmers. I've never really even heard of arm warmers. He also told me that he has this exact arm warmer in his collection as well. So wherever he found them, he has a couple of them, and he was about my height. Just to give you a better look from this angle, this is what they look like. There's a tiny hole right here for your thumb. It's kind of orange. It's just like a nice piece of wool that'll warm you up, keep you warm in the cold. While in Osaka, I also bought this 100-year-old fabric Boro Hat at the coolest shop of the entire trip. This shop was insane, and this hat was also insane. The name of the shop was called Cool with a K. I know, super original name. You can visit this shop in what I would say is Osaka's coolest neighborhood, Nakazakinishi. The name of this neighborhood in Osaka, like I'm having like a brain aneurysm trying to think about the actual pronunciation of this. I think it's called Nakazakinishi. It's in the Keto ward of Osaka. You gotta visit this shop. You gotta add this shop to your list. Like this shop is ridiculous. So for my personal style, I've never really owned anything Boro. I've always felt that like with Boro stuff, it always felt a little bit too grungy or a little bit too tattered for it to melt with how I present myself, right? I don't have that many tattoos. I don't have my ears pierced. Like I'm a very clean cut, simple guy. But for whatever reason, when I put this hat on in that shop and when I put it on today, something just clicked. I just love the way it feels and looks and interacts with my head shape. I don't know, like sometimes when you put on certain hats, it just doesn't work. This is the opposite. This like really works. Also, as you'll see in the upcoming Osaka vintage shopping video, the people in Osaka, there's nothing like them. There really is nothing like them. Their personality, their like humor. I loved shopping at this shop because of the shop clerk. And I'll say that over and over again. The people that made these purchases possible, because we had some bad experiences too, were the people who like you kind of were able to just vibe and have a good time with. If I'm not having a good time, if you don't greet me, if we're not hitting it off, why would I spend, you know, thousands of yen on what you're selling? You have to be kind. It's just like the bare minimum. Should I wear it like this? Love this hat, man. Really, really cool hat. It wouldn't be a Japan pickups video if I didn't have at least one Japanese Selvedge denim jeans to show you guys. These are Momotaro's wide leg Japanese Selvedge denim jeans. And yes, I have the name right finally, Momotaro. And these are great. I would maybe go as far as to say is that these are my top recommendation when it comes to buying Japanese Selvedge denim jeans, especially if you're gonna go to Japan and buy Japanese Selvedge denim jeans. Let me explain why. So for the longest time, I've always owned some pretty upper echelon jeans. I've recognized that, like the way I've gotten my jeans, the Yohji Yamamotos, not the sugar canes, but these jeans, which I'm gonna show you later on in this video, like it's not always easy to get a really nice, beautiful pair of Japanese Selvedge denim jeans, especially those that are a bit more spacious in the thigh and down the leg. But what Momotaro has done is that they've created a pair of jeans that does that. It's wide down the leg, has a lot of really traditional heritage denim making properties like hidden rivets, but it also adds some new things that I think that if you're in Japan, like whether you're in Kyoto or you're in Tokyo or if you go to Kojima, Momotaro jeans is just one of those brands that you should definitely check out and visit and see. Part of the reason why I was in Japan is because Momotaro had invited me out to create a video, which I can't wait to show you guys, about some really cool things. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil it. That I did not buy these jeans. I wore these jeans as an account for the special project that I was working on with Momotaro. When it comes to sizing, I went true to size, which is a 34-34 for me. And with that 34-inch inseam length, I decided that I didn't really need hemming. I could always just do a little slight cuff if I wanted it to be a little bit shorter, but I'm a pretty tall guy, so you can always get them hemmed at Momotaro or hemmed somewhere else if you need to. There's a lot of things I love about these jeans. I think one of the things that you'll notice right away is that they kind of create this really unique and interesting stacking effect because the fabric is so, it feels rugged, but it also feels like it's ready to be broken in. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you buy Selvedge denim or raw denim, like it's too stiff. Zimbabwean cotton, which is really cool. Only thing is that they don't have that much like that crazy neppiness. I love a little bit of nep in my jeans. That's why I like the sugarcane Okinawas. But I think when it comes to fit, when it comes to like what you're getting on a pair of jeans, and there's some hidden details that I'm not gonna share with you guys until later. These are a great pair of jeans. I think I'm realizing my destiny when it comes to Japanese denim. I think, you know, for a lot of years I've talked about it and it'll never escape me. And while I think it's a chapter, like I want it to be a smaller chapter in my journey, I think I should probably allow myself to just talk about jeans. I was a bit worried about talking about jeans because I just thought that people were coming at me for having too many jeans, but I've realized that it's a part of my job, and I realized that it's a part of a huge part of like learning about the product is getting the product in hand and experiencing it. So I was kind of discouraged at first talking about jeans, but I feel like I'm building up that confidence again to like be like, no, like I need to talk about jeans. I love jeans. I do love jeans. I love Japanese denim. It's cool to have a pair of Momotaros. Like when I was first getting started, having a pair of Momotaros was like, wow, like wow. And getting a chance to work with them is like, wow. Anyways, let me not get off the rails too much. Let's move on to the next pickup. Everyone's waiting for Kapital's downfall. Me? I'm just waiting for the restock. And boy, did they restock. As you know, I'm a bit obsessed with collared shirting at the moment, and this is Kapital's blue bandana shirt. Let's get this guy open. Undead stock it. Ba-bam. Damn, this shirt is so good. Seeing it in person like this again is like, I'm so excited to wear this. The thing I love about Kapital is that it's such a fun brand, and I feel like pieces like this personify the fun of Kapital. And whenever I'm wearing Kapital, I'm wearing a brand that almost always makes me feel like I look cool and is fun at the same time. I was able to get this at the Kapital store in Kyoto, which is a really cool store. Not as good as the stores in Tokyo, but still a really cool store. What's really special about this shirt is that it can be worn as a staple or as something that's more day-to-day. I would just tell you, be prepared to see this shirt a lot in videos, because like as a video shirt, like as a shirt to just like have on and talk about fashion, like this is the shirt I want to be wearing for that. So while on this trip, I learned that FULLCOUNT, which is one of the Osaka 5 brands, and there's a video that'll come out about that if you don't know. Osaka 5 are the 5 denim companies that were really responsible for ushering in this new era of Japanese denim for both Japanese customers and American customers abroad. And FULLCOUNT was one of those brands. And we visited FULLCOUNT in Osaka, and I picked up this thermal. So on the front, this thermal reads FULLCOUNT Jeans Master Osaka, FULLCOUNT Jeans Mother Osaka. Now the shop clerk was kind of making a joke. He was telling me that he'd either be master or mother. And I don't know if either of those really fit or makes sense. But I didn't see this online, so I think this is an in-store only for the Osaka store for FULLCOUNT, which is special. It's a thermal. I mean, what more can be said? A good thermal for the winter is never a bad purchase, especially when it's FULLCOUNT. I don't know why the shoe is still here. I guess I can put this on the ground too. One of the more random accessories that I picked up while in Kojima was this denim loop clip-on by Big John. See it? Shout out Big John. We can kind of fly through this, but when I first saw this, I knew exactly what I wanted to use it for. When I was traveling Japan this second year, I had a bag made for me by JG Tailoring here in New York City, and the bag had some really good elements, but it also has some elements that I know once I tell George about, like we're gonna need to revamp this bag. And I wanted to somehow find a way to implement this key, chain, fob, clip-on accessory to that bag for its version 2 once it's completed. And so that's what this is gonna be. It has like a loop, so it can kind of like be clipped on this way, or obviously you can like clip it on with the actual clasp. Really nothing more to say, it's just a fun little accessory. I totally forgot about this Western shirt that I also picked up from FULLCOUNT. It should have been included in the FULLCOUNT section, but I'll show you now. So one of the interesting wrinkles about my personality is that I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado, and being a Coloradan, like you have a lot of Western wear that influences the zeitgeist of the state, not only from a style standpoint, but also from a cultural standpoint as well. Western wear typically isn't associated with someone who looks like me, even though I try to break paradigms all the time. This shirt in particular stood out to me for a couple of reasons. The first reason are those black buttons you see running up the front of the entire shirt. Kind of a unique design detail, something you don't see very often. And this blue is like absolutely gorgeous. When it comes to styling Western shirts or denim shirts, I think there's a really cool like secret that I figured out, which is people love wearing Canadian tuxedos, but like if you really want to like show people that like you care about denim or you care about the fabric that is denim or like jeans, you wear a denim shirt, you have your jeans, and then you wear like a type 1 that's also denim as well, and it creates this really striking look. All these different tones of fabric of denim as the draw for your outfit. And that's exactly how I plan to use this shirt here. Beautiful shirt. It also fits really well. FULLCOUNT did a great job with this one. So while in Tokyo, Lauren and I went to a jazz concert at Tokyo's Cotton Club, which is an iconic jazz club here in New York City in Harlem. But we went in Tokyo and had the best time I've ever, I kid you not, the best time I've ever had at a jazz experience in my life. And part of the reason was because, for one, I mean, the food was delicious, so they serve you food. It was delicious, it was Japanese, it was novel, but it was a jazz concert combined with a magic show, which like, you might think like, whoa, that sounds kind of cheeky, but it was like fantastic, truly fantastic. And after the show, there was a little kiosk that most people just kind of skipped over, that was selling shirts. In fact, no one was behind the kiosk. I noticed the shirts and then I called an attendant over and I said, can I buy these? And they said, yeah, of course you can buy these. And so what these are, and I'll do the white one first. These are 2 dress shirts, button-down shirts, surprise, surprise, from Kamakura Shirts, which is a very, very highly respected menswear and shirt making company. They even had a booth at Alfargo's Marketplace a couple of months ago. They might still do a booth every month, I'm not sure. This is a collaboration between Cotton Club's 20th anniversary, which is crazy, and Kamakura Shirts. And these shirts are made in Japan. Let me open this guy up and show you guys. So I got one in white, in extra large, because I'm a big boy compared to the Japanese sizing. And look at this, look at this collar, man. This is just stunning, stunning work. I think of all the shirts, this collar is the most striking, very 70s, very beautiful. It's gonna be nice with a tie. And then I also picked up white, and I thought, you know what, I have a lot of white shirts. I really like this white shirt, but I have a lot of white shirts. Something I don't have a lot of is black shirts. And so I decided to do black as well. You can kind of see here how beautiful that is. Now, when it comes to these shirts, part of the reason why I decided on getting them is because the experience of the Cotton Club was so great that I wanted to kind of just capstone it, commemorate that moment with an article of clothing that will always take me back to how I felt during the show. The lighting is hitting right now. It is hitting. Yeah, we're okay. So for the last 3 pickups for this video, they weren't bought in Japan, but they're heavily inspired by Japanese brands that I love. And sometimes I just want to show you guys some cool shit. And the first is this Evisu multi-pocket, made in Japan, Selvedge denim jean. These are the hardest jeans I've literally ever seen. One of the criteria I set for myself, and I was kind of talking about this before when it comes to buying new jeans, is that the jeans either have to be purchased for the sake of doing a review or understanding about them for a product showcasing here on YouTube or on Instagram or TikTok, or they have to be literally the coolest jeans ever. If you're gonna buy a pair of jeans, they have to be so unique that once you buy them, they instantly become the hardest jeans in your closet. These instantly became the hardest jeans I have in my closet. And the fact that they fit me, it's enough to make a grown man cry. It's enough to make a grown man cry. So the cool thing is that I took these jeans with me to Japan and I wore them in Osaka at Evisu when we were doing our Osaka 5 denim tour. I wore these jeans because I just think, how incredible of a pair of jeans are they? These are a made in Japan, lot 2001 pair of multi-pocket Evisu jeans. And when I wore these in Osaka at Evisu, we were kind of walking around the shop and I could tell some of the staff was just having side conversations, looking in our way and smiling and smirking. And then one of the staff came over and talked to me. He's like, your jeans that you're wearing, these cost a lot. These go for a lot of money on Japanese auction sites. I was like, brother, I know, I paid the price that it would pay. These cost a lot of money. These jeans are a very, very expensive pair of jeans. But I think they're worth it because, it's a once in a lifetime pair of jeans, really. When have you ever seen another pair of jeans that look like this? It's just not possible, right? It's just not possible. And for the record, of course, I told him thank you, I really love these jeans. I wasn't a cocky American. I just, these jeans are crazy. Next, you may have seen that I went to the Nepenthes sample sale a couple of weeks ago. And at the sample sale, I was able to grab these corduroy engineered garments pants that I also took with me to Japan. And after spending the last 2 weeks with them, I want to talk to you about why I love them so much. For one, I was able to get these off a very, very generous discount. I'm talking about, under $100, under $70 for these pants. They have pleats in the front, which kind of give them a much more preppier or elevated look. I know people are getting a little bit sick of the wider silhouette, but for me, I feel like I'm just getting started. And while trends come and go, you have to experience fashion for yourself Fashion should be about you, your interest, the things that you're experimenting with. So while we live in this kind of crazy time where on the internet, there's a bunch of things happening, whether it's a micro trend, whether we're talking about quarter zips, whether we're talking about whatever. Buy the things that you like, enjoy the things that you like. At the end of the day, you'll look back on the decisions that you made and you'll be proud of those decisions because you did it in an authentic way. And these to me are, like, I love these and I just don't see myself feeling like they're inauthentic. Maybe I will, you know, they're super wide, so maybe they're like too wide, but I don't know. These are my chords and I'm so happy to have them. So the other engineered garments piece that I picked up from the Nepenthes sample sale that I want to show you guys are these cargo pants that are navy. Very similar in silhouette and kind of design to the corduroy pants. They have the pleats down the front. I think these are actually the exact same pants. How am I saying very similar? Literally the exact same. They have the cuff at the bottom, but they're navy and they're not corduroy. So they have a different feel to them and just as comfortable. Don't have the same battle scars as the corduroy ones because I obviously wore those a bunch in Japan. But I think that these are gonna be a great pair for me. For the fall, for the winter, for the spring. We'll see in the summer, it might be a little bit too hot. But I just think these are a really fun, really great pair of pants. Remember earlier in this video when I showed you the Duffle cap toe leather shoes by Hender scheme? I feel like either one of these pants will work really beautiful with those shoes. A lot of styling potential here. They file right in with my style. You know, simple, clean, beautiful engineered garments, Nepenthes. Like, they get it. They get me. And I get them, I hope. Love you guys. These were the items that I picked up while in Japan. I linked everything that I could down in the description. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe because it's gonna be a really fun next couple of weeks on the channel. Let me know which item stood out to you the most in this video. As always, I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity in 2025. So that means I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity to you and to everyone who's alive. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful rest of your day. Abianto. Peace. Yo, what is good post-vid? Let's get the fist bumps for the one time. The lighting is like hitting like no other, man. I got so many videos I need to show you guys. I need to show you guys the whole setup, man. The lighting is crazy. Here's a fist bump for the one time. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. Here's a second fist bump. Come on, if you haven't done the first one, let's get the second one. I appreciate you so much for sticking to the end. Sticking to the end. Oh my God, I'm tired. PVV, we're back from Japan again. If you like the Japan videos from last year, hopefully you'll like the ones from this year. I'm very excited. Let me know down in the comments which video should I do next for the Japan content. I have vintage shopping in Osaka. I have vintage shopping in Tokyo. I have kind of going in depth whether or not Japan has changed from over tourism. I have a lot, okay? Just let me know what you'd like to see down in the comments. I guess you don't know what I have. Just focus on the two. Vintage shopping in Osaka or vintage shopping in Tokyo. I kind of have an order in my head, but just let me know what you want to see down in the comments. Hashtag PVV when you answer. What? Yeah, I guess other elephant in the room you can kind of see. Let me show you. Your boy is growing a little facial hair, as you can see, and I think it's going well. I think it's going pretty well. PVV, if you have any tips or recommendations for beard growth or facial hair growth, if you have any opinions on if I should just chop it off or let it grow, let me know. Thank you guys again so much. We'll see you in the next video. Love ya. Peace.